are now tuned to BS3 Network.
All right. Hello, everyone, on this beautiful Thursday. Welcome to Perspective. Tonight, we'll have a really good show for you. And I know I had to put into the description that we would have a guest. And so, I don't want to shock anyone. Our guest was not able to join. So we're going to slate them for future conversation and topics. But thank you. We're happy for you to be here. And as we always do, we kind of go into a layout of really what we're about and what we're here for. And the premise of our platform and what we want to do is found right there in the name, Perspective. This is a safe place, a safe tree, if you will, where different opinions, points of views, lived experiences are shared in a safe environment. One thing we always like to point out is that, just because someone else's perspective, opinion, points of view may be different than yours, it doesn't mean that they're wrong and you're right, they're right, you're wrong. It simply just means that they're different. And if we just can, be respectful, discuss our differences, I think many times we'll find out that you have more in common than you do differences. And then also you at least can lend a little bit of respect to someone else's points of position. And when we do that, we think that brings us closer together. And that is really what we ultimately want to achieve here, is for us all to be closer together. So with that being said, I'll do my introductions. My name is Eric Butler, aka The Intellect, aka The Atlantic, because I'm cold, deep, and choppy, aka Cullinan, because I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land. I'm 3,000 plus carats, y'all, and can't nobody do nothing about it. So with that being said, I've been in talent acquisitions for over about 17 years now. So I've had plenty of conversations that has led into some consulting work, career consulting, and also just kind of talking and sharing my experiences, which tend to help others. I'm active in the community. I sit on the advisory board of the Empower series, which is a financial literacy nonprofit organization. So I encourage you to go out, especially on our YouTube page, check out some of that content. You'll see that it'll be very, very valuable to you. And other than that, I'm a father, I'm a girl dad, I'm a grandfather, which I'll stick in the caveat. My grandson has been with me this week. So he's been with me. So I've had a great week. But yes, it's hard because he's 1.5. And so I've gotten some work in. Other than that, I'm just, I'm a man, I'm a Black man. I've had some experiences. Apparently, some of the things that I come up with, I think of, and I've been through tends to help others. And I try to do that here on this platform as well. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton to my super duper counterfragilistic SBLadocious co-host, who I like to call Doc, and I'll let her introduce herself.
And so before I introduce myself, I just need to know, are we adding AKA Paw Paw to your introduction?
No, we won't, because my grandson calls me granddaddy.
So Paw Paw is not.
Paw Paw ain't gonna work. Yeah, and I'll give a quick caveat. I call my granddaddy. So
my kids call my granddaddy, their granddaddy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But anyway, hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Latoya, aka Doc, aka Latoya the therapist, aka his wife, them kids' mama. I am a licensed professional counselor. I'm an author. I'm a speaker, and I'm super excited to talk about the topic for tonight. I get really, really excited when we're talking about relationship stuff because I also do couples counseling. I do not take insurance for couples counseling, but I also do that. So I'm super excited to get into it. Let's hit the comments real quick, and then we can roll.
Absolutely. If you all are not aware, the perspective sits and rides on the wave of BS3 network. And if you can't notice that Ben Sutter the third, that BS3, he puts the BS3 in the BS3 network. He says you can support BS3 network by sending stars. Stars help us earn money to continue building the network, and we thank you. I always caveat that with our this is a very it's a solid, um, very heartfelt, very tangible network. It's not something that's a money grab, but it's really putting content and information out there that's suitable. So don't feel bad about supporting this network. Um, Carmel, hello, how are you doing?
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely.
All right, I know you've done some research. I know you got your bullet points. Hit them. What we got?
Now, yeah, and I always leads to that. These are some research that's been done, but what we definitely going to do is kind of dig into our own personal experience, information we received during different conversations in
Got it.
those circles. But we're going to give you
Let me give our disclaimer.
yeah,
Here at Perspective, we are giving our perspective. That does not mean this is happening in our individual households unless we say, oh, that one time Jeff and I, or if he says, oh, this one relationship I was in. Otherwise, this is just perspective. We could be talking about your situation. It's not necessarily our situation. Okay, go.
absolutely, absolutely. So we're talking about the top. So the topic, now I like it. I got me one. That's how you got to say it. I got me one.
Okay.
The top 5 signs you found a great mate. So, of course, I have my own list of things that I think are there. But, fundamentally, I think we're all going to come, we might take different directions getting there, but I think we all want to get to where we're headed to the same place. So I'm going to go down the ones that are in the list. We can kind of dig into each aspect of what they mean, and they're going to sound familiar because we talked about more red flags last week. These are really the green flags. So, basically when you flip over the coin, yeah, the coin, you'll see that it's really just mirrored on what it is. So the things that'll make you leave need to be there if that means you're going to stay, right? So compatibility. And when we talk about compatibility, it says you and your partner share a very strong sense of compatibility. And Doc, after I go through this, then let's dig into what your thoughts are.
I got you.
Which means you have similar values, goals, and interests. You enjoy spending time together, have meaningful conversations, and support each other's dreams and aspirations.
Sounds like alignment. Remember, we said a red flag was misalignment.
Mhm.
So it just sounds like alignment to me. I also really enjoyed the piece on supporting each other's dreams and aspirations. I feel like sometimes what's missing is that support. I think sometimes people get jealous and envious when they see one person excelling, and I think that that's inappropriate. So having someone who knows, like, oh, it's my turn to fall back and be your cheerleader, and then vice versa, I think is amazing.
Absolutely. And I think that key element is, finding someone who, you're aligned, but that's another trait or characteristic. Like, can they handle if what you're doing takes off before theirs? I think more people would think about, men supporting, a wife or a woman who's whether if they're entrepreneurs or especially if they're in the public eye and their business or their whatever their dream or goal is kind of blowing up. And really, and when you do that, a lot of time funds come in with that. So we can be compatible and in alignment, but I think that's another layer to it. We may dig into that to see if
support is but to me, right underneath that is a sense of security in self. I can't support you if I'm insecure. I can't encourage you if I'm insecure. I cannot be there for you and help you expand on whatever it is if I'm jealous. You know what I mean? Like if I'm secretly like, oh, they ain't popping off and I'm over here working a 9 to 5, I can't authentically show up for you. So for me, the underlying thing underneath that is going to be a sense of self, security with self.
Okay, awesome. And then mutual respect.
We should probably have that even if we're friends.
Mm, mm. Says a healthy and lasting marriage requires mutual respect between partners. If you have found the right person, they will treat you with kindness, empathy. I think people don't understand that. Empathy is different than sympathy,
Yeah.
and respect. They value your opinions, listen to you, and appreciate you for who you are.
So again, I have to be secure in me before I can do all that for you. You know what I mean? Like, I can't appreciate you if I don't appreciate me. I can't be there for you if I'm not there for me. So I think all of those things are important. But for me, and I always tell my couples this, I need two happy, healthy, whole people
That's the
before we
key.
get into a
Yeah.
marriage.
And we're going to get into that because we're going to go through the list, and then I think we're going to dive in and get some Ginsuing happening. So communication, which I
Yes.
think is, that's probably number one on many people's list, effective communication, which is my favorite enunciation of that topic. The effective communication is crucial in any successful marriage. You and your partner should be able to express your thoughts, feelings, and concerns openly and honestly. So if you can communicate effectively, resolve conflicts constructively, and work through challenges together, it's a positive sign.
Yeah, I don't even have anything to add to that because I feel like communication is so important. But if I wanted to like try to find something else to say, communication is super important, but understanding is too. Because communication is just the exchange of information and emotion. And so I can tell you, Eric, you hurt my feelings when you didn't log on at 8 o'clock. But if you don't understand, if you don't get an understanding of why my feelings are hurt, then we're just talking.
Right.
So I would say understanding is important.
Understanding. And see, in effective communication, when I say effective, it's really understanding how the person hears or how they communicate. For some, it may be it needs to be written. Some people don't have the calisthenics to verbally communicate, and they get frustrated, and then it turns into something else. So, and Doc, I love to hear you kind of dig in on that. You say you don't like that, but if you can't get your thoughts together to effectively communicate, and that's so, and to me, effective communication means you can. I hate to say it, I think you can talk about it logically and get out of your emotions. Do you care about what the other person is feeling, or what they may be going through, or how they may be perceiving something or receiving something, and kind of get out of your own, what do I get out of it, and what's happening to me. But that needs to be reciprocated. It needs to be two individuals involved in that process.
I agree with that. What I don't agree with is if somebody needs to write it down. Like, we can't have like, you gonna hand me a piece of paper, what we gonna do, right? Now that again, do what works at your house. If you and your person passing notes and it's working for y'all and y'all getting to it, pass these notes. I'm here for that. Do what works at your house. But for me, I need you to, and I'm not opposed to you having like a index card. And I've even taught clients to do this. Like, get your bullet points down, because they're like, oh, I get flustered when we're in conversation.
Yes.
Cool. Sis, get your index card with your bullet points and write them down. Like, when you did this, I felt this, and then this is what happened next, and this is what happened next. Then put your card down, give eye contact, and be ready to receive what they have to say. Right. The thing about relying on paper is, once I give you my initial thoughts and you give me your rebuttal, we gonna take a break so I can go write something else down, or
no. I think what you described would be, because I mean, the conversation has to happen, but just as you mentioned, there are individuals who are not. They have you ever had to? I'll ask you this: have you ever, or if people that are listening, have you ever had a situation where you had a conversation, you gave some responses or rebuttals, to use Doc's word, in the conversation, and you leave, and then you be like, man, I wish I'd have shared this, or man, I wish I'd have said that.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, get your thoughts together, so that, especially when you're talking about your relationship, you're communicating with someone you love. So keep that in mind so you can make sure you're covering all those things and don't leave anything uncovered. When I talk about writing something down, that's in the premise in which I'm saying, I'm not saying, now I don't know, maybe you need to write a note and say, I don't even want to be around when they get this because it's going to be bad news. There's a reason why Dear John letters were
so I think
exist.
Okay. My initial visceral response is like, no, we grown, talk to me. But as I think about people that I've sat across from, people that I've had to share space with, there are people who I have encouraged to write.
Yes.
Let me say that.
I
remember in the beginning of my marriage, we had a joint journal, and we would just write back and forth.
Oh, cool.
It worked for us. We don't really do that anymore, but we had that. So I'm not opposed to writing. I just feel like if you're a person who can't express themselves once they get emotionally heightened, then maybe we should do some work with that.
True.
Because you're not going, if you're at work and your boss is like, why did you miss this deadline? What happened? Blah, blah, blah. You're not going to be like, oh, give me a minute and then respond in email. They're going to fire you. They are.
I got you. All right. So
hold on. Check the comment. Yeah.
Okay, let's do comments. Facebook use says, or just ask for some time to process what was said.
Agreed. I tell people all the time, like, especially in session, like when people dump on me, I'm like, I'm processing. And I'll just sit there and like mentally sort through what they said and then respond. And that's like in real time in a session, because what you don't want to do is respond so quickly that you say something inappropriate or wrong or jumbled.
Mm-hmm. Or out of emotion, which I think happens more often than not.
Especially in relationships.
Yeah, even when individuals don't think that's what it was. I'm like, no, that was an emotional response to that because right now you don't mean that. You don't feel that way. So can't happen. So that's a great segue into number 4. Emotional intimacy. Not I got a from the doc. Okay. Emotional connection and intimacy are important aspects of a strong marriage. You should feel emotionally supported and understood by your partner. Sharing your joys, sorrows, fears, and vulnerabilities. Matter of fact, I'm going to read that one more time. Sharing your joys, sorrows, fears, and vulnerabilities should come naturally. Doc, you have to dig into that naturally. Fostering a deep emotional bond.
So I don't think it comes naturally.
I know that's immediate thing that it means.
Yeah, like I just don't think that, right? Like I think that because I love you and because I know that emotional intimacy is important, then that's something that I need to work on. That's something that I need to strive for. But I don't know that vulnerability piece is just natural for most people.
No, I would go out on a limb and say it's not natural from anyone. I would say in recent times, being vulnerable is really the main reason. Lack of vulnerability is really what keeps people apart. It's what makes even potentially good relationships falter, because everything will be in alignment, but someone will not be vulnerable. Someone will not show their soft underbelly. Or they won't open up the closet and let that femur bone fall on out, and let's find out how they're going to respond to it.
Right.
And there's too many skeletons, too many secrets, too many, even if you're trying to make a change. Well, I need to know what you changed from. And the right person will celebrate the effort and the work you put in that change. Now, if a person judges you for what you used to be or used to do, then that may not be the right person for you. So I agree with you. It's not natural. It's really something you have to work to do. But I want to shout, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, then you're not really trying to be in you're not trying to be in a quality relationship.
So my caveat or additive to that is that when a person is being vulnerable with you, you got to be a soft place for them to land. I'm not jumping off the cliff to broken glass and jagged rocks. I need to jump off the cliff to a padded mattress with pillows, safety, potentially a parachute. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. She's trying to jump into some sketches.
because listen, like opening up
Memory
and telling
foam.
somebody, like, this is what it is. This is what happened to me. This is why I'm this way. This is what keeps me up at night. This is why I'm crying. Like, whatever it is, takes a level of strength that I don't think enough people appreciate. So when a person does that and they jump off that cliff into your arms and you hit them with the don't expect them to do that again.
Ever. And men more so than women. I'm saying that.
Okay. You're a man.
That's my opinion. Now we may not show it. Oh, but once you do it, if I share something, if I show you a little bit of that underbelly, I like to call it underbelly.
I see. It's kind of weird, but okay.
No, I say that because I watched this is a sidebar. I watched Avatar, the Way of the Water.
Oh, okay.
And so the big, sea turtle, sperm whale, humongous monster combination. Now I can't think of the name of it, what it was called, but it was a bad summer gun. And the only way you could kill it, and the only way you could hurt it is that soft, vulnerable underbelly.
Gotcha.
Hey.
Got it. That like really like movie stuck out for you, huh?
Yeah, it did. So no, it was great. Anyway, so but if I show you if I'm vulnerable with you or show you a weak spot or share something that I may not be that proud of, and you come back, I don't care if it's a day, I don't care if it's a year, I don't care if it's 3 years, 5, 10, 15, and you bring it back up. You know how they shut down the piano and say, "All right, I'm out of here."
Like on Color Purple.
Color Purple. Yeah, that's how he might not do it physically. He might not do it in any other way, but definitely emotionally he will. And now you understand that's going to impact your intimacy with that man or his intimacy with you.
I don't disagree, but I would argue that for women too.
Okay. Yeah. I've had some conversations where I would say, yeah. And I'm just speaking because I've talked to, I've been in those circles, men groups, men ministries where, man, that's like, I will never, ever, and I give women a lot of credit because they can be the protectors of that and they can strengthen that area. And that will increase the emotional intimacy a man will have for you. That's why a man can, you've seen some men and you'd be like, how'd she get him? She protected that underbelly.
Okay, underbelly.
All right. So our fifth, and then we can get into our elements of it. Our fifth sign is that you have a shared vision of the future. I really like this one. A shared vision of the future. And I think it goes full circle. It might go back to what you talked about earlier.
Alignment.
So when you find the right person to marry, both have a shared vision of the future. You discuss your long-term goals, dreams, and plans together, and are committed to building a life that aligns with both of your aspirations. That'd be interesting. This shared vision provides a strong foundation for a fulfilling and lasting marriage.
I love it. But let me hit these comments real quick just because they go with what we were just talking about.
All right, Facebook user, trust versus vulnerability.
I'm not sure what the question is, but I think I have to trust you in order to be vulnerable. And then if you're not a soft place to land, then that's definitely going to remove some of that trust. Then I can't be vulnerable. I wonder, is that what they mean?
Yeah, and I think trust allows a person to be vulnerable. And then I think it's one of those cyclical things, because if you're vulnerable with someone, then that's how trust is generated.
Right.
And I think you have to put it out there. And then when you see that they protect the underbelly, they don't let nothing get to it, then that grows trust. Mr. J. Gilliard, man, salute, sir. Said, good evening. Protecting the underbelly is taking me out.
Me too. Me too.
Gotta take care of that undergird.
Okay, come on, back to this last one.
All right.
Shared goals, shared vision.
Shared vision of the future. So when you find the right person to marry, both have a shared vision of the future.
Right.
Okay. You discuss your long-term goals, dreams, and plans together and are committed to building a life that aligns with both of your aspirations.
Yeah, I think that's just like going back around to that circle. Like that's that alignment. That's my goals, your goals. We working for the same goal. Like I'm with that. I don't really have much to add there.
Now with that one, I think it's a little utopic because sometimes anything with you do if you're shooting for two what your life goals may be and what their life goals may be, what my life goals may be. I want you to achieve those. I think you have to now really get into the dirt. What if someone's takes off quicker? What if they can't be done simultaneously? And if we're going to put resources, time, energy, and support into theirs, how is that taken away from the other? So then I think it's a more intimate conversation on, okay, we're going to focus on getting. You may be closer to the finish line than I am. This may be something I just tickled at, and I might want to do. This is kind of your passion and calling. Then you got to go into those deeper conversations to figure out which direction we're going to go. For example, okay, I worked. You were in school. Now you've graduated. Now can you support me as I go back to school or pour into the dream that I had and or invest in that so I can start working on that. And I think those kind of conversations have to be had. But I mean that we got many different outcomes that have come in that way. So that may be something to always keep in mind.
So for me, I think that we always think it's their dream or my dream. Why can't they run concurrently? Obviously finances, right? Like I can't put 500 in my business, 500 in your business, and then we track. But depending on what the businesses are, maybe we put 400 in yours, 100 in mine, and I just put more like time or sweat equity in mine, and we put more actual finances in yours. You know what I mean? Like I think sometimes the reason for resentment is because it can take years to build a dream. Yes. They say it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation. Yes. So if we've spent 10 years pouring into yours, having children, going into debt, getting out of debt, doing whatever we're doing for 10 years, and then you barely hit the surface, now what for me? Because you barely hit the surface, right? Like you got enough, but it didn't like pop. And so I've spent 10 years supporting you doing nothing, and we really don't even have enough to now support me. And so I think that's why people start to get resentful. So I encourage people figure out if we can run these dreams concurrently.
Yeah, exactly.
How does it what does that look like?
Yes. And then and to me, that's where the deeper element of that sign, because if you're effective communicators, you'll figure out you can really have that tough conversation. And if they're the right person, you can plan it out. But I always understand that, plans, like you said, we had a plan for this popping, and I would even talk about timelines. So how long do you think it will take? How much do we want to pour into this and for how long? Right. And so that's where the effective communication comes in to bolster the fifth sign, which is that you have a vision of the future.
I've even challenged couples in sessions. So like, we'll just use this as an example. This was not a real thing, but I feel like that's too much of their business. So let's pretend the guy wants to be a rapper and the girl wants to be a social media influencer, right? To be a social media influencer, you can kind of do that with what you got. Now you do need to like get your nails and your hair and stuff done because you want to be pretty. So that's that. But for rapping, in my mind, you need a little bit more money because the studio time, you got to buy beats, you got to pay producers, whatever you got to do, right? So I've challenged people, if your household income is this, and these dreams are out here. What y'all gonna do to get that other money? You really want some studio time? Go Uber, and whatever you make from Uber, you pay for the studio. You want to be a social media influencer? Go do something else, and then whatever you make from that, buy your Amazon packages or get your nails done or whatever you want to do, right? And so I think that while we're running this race, these separate races, but together, why you need to be responsible for funding your dream, and I need to be responsible for funding my dreams. I've seen that work too.
Say that again.
I'm going to be responsible for funding my dream, and you're going to be responsible for funding yours. I've seen that work too.
Seen it work.
Mm-hmm.
Have we seen it not work?
Yeah, we've seen it not work. If he makes more and he can fund his dream quicker, she got an attitude, and vice versa.
I want all the marbles on. I want all the cards on the table. I don't want anybody to feel left out, because they'll be like, "Well, I tried that and it didn't work. Something wrong with me?" No, not really. It just happens, you know. So those are the 5. Doc, do you have any? And especially for our viewers and listeners, is there any that align? I wouldn't say align, because if anyone doesn't agree with those, I'm like, okay, I would like to hear that. But do you have something that's different than what we discussed? And to kind of, and I'll do a quick recap. We talked about compatibility, mutual respect, communication, effective communication, emotional intimacy, and shared vision of the future. Those are, if you have those with someone else, then those are 5 signs that you got you one.
So for me, I agree with all of those. All of those are needed. But I think for me, it's about, how do I feel in my body when I'm with you? That matters to me too. Because some people be like, "Oh girl, I get butterflies. Oh, I just What if that's anxiety?
I'm telling you.
Because when people come to me and they say I have anxiety, and I say, okay, without saying the words anxiety, how do you know what you feel? And they say, well, it's this thing in my stomach. So for me, I think you have to pay attention to, like, how do I feel in my body when I'm with you? Can my nervous system relax or nah? Like, am I on edge? Am I like, can't be myself? I can't relax. I think especially for women, we'll try to romanticize that away. We'll just be like, oh, when I'm with him, I can't even breathe because he takes my breath away. No, sis, you nervous. You got anxiety, boo. Like, really? Your nervous system ain't rocking with this.
So being nervous is not, so him making you nervous is a negative thing?
Okay, so look, see how you trying to be all super literal? You got
I'm trying.
It's nuance. So the first time you go on a date, sure. First to third date, sure. But at what point do you start to relax and feel comfortable? We 6 months in and you still nervous. You still afraid to speak because of how he's gonna critique you. You still buying a new outfit every time y'all hang out because he don't like the way you dress. That ain't it.
Or maybe the way, that might be a sign of she needs to sit down with, Latoya, the therapist. That's what she needs to do, because she ain't.
But here's the thing: she doesn't feel like that with other people.
Oh, very key.
But I'm telling you, women will be like, he takes my breath away. I still get butterflies. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'm not sure that that's okay.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the most important things to me, because I've been in a relationship where I wasn't safe. Not that he was like beating me up, but I wasn't psychologically safe. Like, I didn't feel safe with him. And so I know what that looks like. And so for me, it's like, how do I feel in my body when I'm with you? That's so important to me. And I don't think enough people think about that.
That's good, Doc.
Well,
That's
hold on,
real
let's hit
good.
these comments real quick. Hi, Mr. Ben. How you doing?
All right, Mr. BS3 himself.
See, she feeling me.
Shakima say, yes, yes, yes. For love feels calm, peaceful, relaxed.
It does.
Facebook user say, Facebook user says, hello, everyone.
Hi, how are
Hello,
you?
hello, hello. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Hello, Latoya. How are you doing today? Yeah,
Oh, hello, Facebook user. I'm doing well. If you could give us permission to, I don't know, something about StreamYard,
yeah.
permission to
If you
your
look
Facebook.
on the site, that you can click on the StreamYard link, and you give it permission to show your name. So if you go in and look at where you joined with us, it should be in there.
And then thank you for spelling my name correctly, because that's a thing for me. So I appreciate it.
All right. Mr. James Dodd, he says, so you don't.
Maybe he meant some. Maybe he meant
Some do that also. Okay. And then Facebook
48 on back.
40. Oh, okay. I think that's 52 right there. That's Oscar Smallwood.
They definitely said 48. So why you say 52?
Because I was 48 and he calls me 48 and I call him 52.
Got it. I was like, why
Yeah.
did you make that number up?
Yeah.
I was like, why would you do that?
James Dodd says, some men feel that same thing.
Right. And so I'm not saying that men don't feel that. I'm just saying, for me, what people should think about when they're saying, I got me one. How do you feel in your body? Like, are you cool when you with this person?
Yeah, I think like Shah was saying, like when you feel that way, man, you're gonna feel calm, relaxed, excited, yes, so you don't get that confused with nervous and don't want to make a mistake. But I'll let you, delve into that. Facebook just says 54 in the house. I think that's AWOL right there. The fact I remember these numbers is show you how, these are individuals that if that's AWOL, you gotta be AWOL. Ain't no other 54 matter to me.
Hold on. So the first one was 52.
Yeah, he said 48. I'm back. He's talking to me. I was 48. He's 52.
Yeah,
he said, and
54
he was saying
in the
54 in the house.
Well,
So,
thank you to all the numbers showing up. We definitely appreciate
No, I
it.
appreciate them. No, absolutely. So, to the viewers, with the list that we went through, compatibility, mutual respect, communication, and these are good things. You're having a positive experience of these: compatibility, mutual respect, communication, emotional intimacy, and a shared vision of the future. Is there any that you would add to that list that was not highlighted as a sign? So we love to hear from you all. Facebook, it says, laughing out like AWOL here. Yeah, that's AWOL. He said he liked the show. Thank you, brother.
Thank
I appreciate
you. Come back every week. We're here.
Yeah.
Well, Latoya, this is Lloyd Phillips Jr. Hello, Lloyd Phillips Jr. How you doing?
Hey, Lloyd. Thank you.
And then hello, everyone. Hey.
And hello, everyone. All right.
So another thing that we don't think about is like conflict resolution. How does this person solve conflict? And not just with me, but with anybody. Because I'm of the belief of how you are in one area of your life is more than likely how you are in other areas of your life. And so how do you resolve conflict? That's important. Because if you're a person that flies off the handle, if you're a person that like punches holes in the wall and stuff like that, how long before you punching me?
Or someone who shuts down. And when you shut down and no, I can't talk about it, how long is it going to be till you leave?
Right. How long is it before you're giving me the silent treatment? And silent treatment is emotional abuse. That is manipulation.
Hey, Doc said that, y'all. Emotional abuse. They whooping you with their silence. You got
they
a
really
silent
are.
ass
That's
whoop.
not okay.
Overton Claiborne says, great show. Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Really appreciate you being here. And
you know what else I like to consider? Does this person have friends? I can't be your only friend. Like I can't be your everything all the time.
So what would that be in a like if we added that to the category or to the signs, would it be?
It's alignment. I want somebody that has friends and values friendship, because at the root of our marriage, relationship, or whatever we about to do has to be friendship.
They have a social life, or what would that be? Because I mean, what I look at that as someone who has, now I'm gonna say has something going on, so to speak.
That's it.
Yeah, say have something going on, because in many relationships, people will make you the sole provisioner of their happiness, of their entertainment.
That's not fair.
And hell no, because I cannot jump through any hoops.
That's
I'm
right.
not a hoop jumper.
That's right.
It's like the 5 heartbeats. He's like, damn, every night I gotta prove my love. Who is going to do that?
Somebody, but not for long.
All I know who's not going to do it is the intellect ain't going to do it, or Eric, or Cullinan, or the Atlantic. None of them. All right.
Well, Latoya, incorrectly spelled. I think he's trying to say, what class of friends do you want me to put you around? I don't think I understand the question.
So now I don't know. You know what? How can I try to explain that for him? And I can't. And I'm going to stop.
That's why you always ask for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I tell people, like, I don't understand. I want to make sure that I'm answering correctly.
Absolutely.
But I think it's important that people have other stuff going on, because if I'm your everything and I'm responsible for your happiness, your entertainment, keeping your secrets, and all the things, then what happens when I fail you? What happens when I got to go to work?
No, you're guaranteed to fail them.
That's why I said what happens when. I didn't say if. I said when.
No, I'm riding on your coat. I agree. 100%. 100%.
I do want a person that has friends. Yeah. Like healthy friendships out. Yeah, I do. Outside of me. Healthy platonic friendships. Maybe they're asking me for clarity. But yeah, healthy platonic friendships I think is important, because I need to see how you maintain relationships. How do you treat the people that you say you love? If you saying, we'll just say Jeff is your homeboy, but you like treat him crazy, how am I supposed to know how you're gonna treat me?
Because
you've known him longer than you know me.
Oh, true that. And I think it gives you some insight into the person additionally, because like how do they move? How do they function? I remember seeing a video where it was a statement, and it says, it was talking about men that have friends. They call them friends that they hang with. These are individuals that are in their circle, but they're married men, and they practice infidelity or they cheat on their wife.
They do.
Then it says a man should, if that means you agree with that. Now I know, and I don't want everybody coming after me at one time, because I get it. Grown people gonna do what grown people do. But is that something? Are you kind of redirecting them, not telling them what to do, but say, hey man, I just don't agree with what you're doing. So I don't want to be around no other people other than your wife. I don't want to interact when you're if that's what you're going to do, don't involve me. And matter of fact, just like you hide it from her, hide it from me too, if that's the case.
Right. And so for me, that cheating man is going to hide it from that friend who said they wasn't with it. But for me, that shows a level of respect in your friendship. Now, I'm sorry that you're a cheater, like you probably are a loser, but you still respected the friendship. So that means you're capable of respect, right? Gotcha. So I still stick with what I said. And so then the comment was I feel like, because to your point, grown people gonna do what they want to do. And you can say to somebody, hey, chill out, hey, slow down, or however. In my mind, that's how men talk to other men. Chill out, don't do that. But if Buddy want to cheat, like he gonna cheat. I don't know that that's a reflection of you, right?
No, very, very true. Very true. Very true.
So there's a certain quieter Friends. I don't know that there's a certain like number of friends that they have to have. For me, it's more so how do you treat the other people in your life? Because you cannot be mean, angry, hateful, spiteful in all areas of your life and then love on me. Eventually, the mean, hateful, spiteful is going to come into this relationship.
Eventually.
Mhm.
The mean, hateful,
People can
spiteful.
hide it for so long.
How
You
long
know,
you think a person? No,
people can.
that's a whole nother discussion for another show on timelines, because that's a key element, because we talk about the mutual respect and the emotional intimacy, which ties into trust and vulnerability. We talked about that. So when it comes to trust, that's a key element. Let me liaison. So my own personal list, you have one. I said an alignment which would be compatibility. I
Right.
think, but we have like beliefs and values, which they mentioned in there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
those need to be in a line. So, and I understand there are exceptions to the rule. You have someone who maybe practices a certain type of religion, and someone else is a different one, and
Right.
they coincide and make it happen. But I
Mhm.
promise it's a problem. I promise it. I don't care, because there's going to be issues there. But I think it would be more advantageous if they were in alignment in that,
Yeah.
so your beliefs and your values. How do you discipline children? You know what I mean? How do you celebrate? How do you celebrate anything? And are you
To
big on
celebrate people.
birthdays, or is birthdays not a big deal? Do you
Right.
celebrate everybody's birthday, or you're a big gift giver, and all
Right.
of those type little aspects? So alignment in your beliefs and values, um, and communication. I almost say they one it, 1A and 1B. Effective communication. And what I mean when I say effective communication would be right in line with that. Like, basically, I'm saying, when effective communication, meaning if you're upset, one, you know how to bring it to me, and
Right.
two, you're brave enough and capable of expressing that without it being disrespectful, without shutting down and going into quiet mode, or you walking in the kitchen and the cabinets being slammed, and stuff you used to do you don't do, and I got to figure it out and come to you and find out, or
Right.
something of that, in along those lines. So effective communicator, trustworthy. And like, you just got to be a trustworthy person. And I love that document. Like, you got to have friends, because I'm going to look at the friends. What is your relation? Do they depend on you? Do they rely on you? How
Right.
do you respond to their needs?
Yep.
That type of thing. And this, I don't know, this may be a little different, but I would say, how I'm going to put it, they're motivating and inspiring.
Like because of them, you want to do better, or they
Like, yeah,
motivate you to do better, or
not that they motivate me, not like, hey, coach, somebody to push you, but them just being them is motivating and inspiring.
mm,
Now that may be more,
that.
you're just like, man, I can respect how they move, what they accomplish, what they're doing. Because I
Yeah.
think intrinsically, birds, who you're around is what you're going, it's going to rub off on you in one way or the other. So someone
Right.
who's motivating and inspiring,
Hmm.
and then someone who loves themselves. And
Mm.
really, to me, love themselves is the equivalent to someone who's self-aware. Like, you're good, you're bad, and you're ugly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if they are, they're going to be an effective communicator. When you bring things up to them, they're not going to go into defense mode. They're really going to go into, like, really, and let me assess and throw that up against my personal wall and see if that's something that I need to address, or hey, I didn't realize that within myself, and I can. So I would say that, and then that's my list. I know that's four. No, that's five. That's five right there. That's my personal list. So it kind of aligns. That's why I
It
don't think you
does.
can really get away from the base of those things.
Hmm.
Maybe outside of the motivating and inspiring is probably the
I like that one.
caveat. But to me, I would like, I'd write wife. And then so the no's had to be the list. Now, there are some other things, but we're not going to talk about that on this show. But I was just trying to get it started and give our viewers time to add some of theirs. Because again, I would love to know, is there something that they have experienced, or maybe if you're in a relationship, what was the key sign that you got you one?
I got me one. What made you call your homegirl and say, "Girl, it's him"?
There you go. There you go, Doc.
Yeah. Okay. So Facebook user said, "Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful night. You too. Thank you so much. We are here every week. You just come on back. We'll be here."
Appreciate it.
I think something that people don't consider, people don't pay enough attention to. And the first time somebody said this to me, I was like, but they were right. I want to see how you manage your home. Is it clean? You got lights?
Not lights.
What's going on over there? I want to see that. I'm just thinking, if I had to start over, I'm not starting over. I'm married. I'm not saying we got issues. But if I had to start over, I would want to see, how do you manage your home? What you got going on over there? How can I trust you to lead me?
Okay, Doc. Get people up there. All right, Mr. J. Gill, you said, for me, it was how I felt every time she was away. I can't breathe. I can't sleep. Mr. J. Gill said, I wanted to be with her all the time. Got it. You sure it wasn't indigestion? No, let me stop.
Sick of you.
I'm a quick play.
Sick of you.
I'm gonna stop. So we're down to the last 10 minutes. Hold on, Mr. J. Gill said she saw how I managed my home. She didn't like my apartment.
It was just really sad.
Sad is the word we're going to use.
Okay. It was so sad. But the one thing his apartment had that my apartment didn't have was cable. I didn't have cable. We used to watch DVDs and watch the little channels you can get on the little box or whatever. This was back in the day before, I was LaToya the therapist. But he would let me go to his apartment and watch. I used to love the game, so I would go over there and watch the game. And it was just really sad.
Listen, when you can't just say sad and then leave everybody's imagination to think that it was just, it probably wasn't decorated, didn't have the decorum or feng shui that you would.
None of that.
But now was he a bachelor at the time?
Was.
Well, we kind of operate on function and not fashion.
It was super functional. Like he had all the things.
All the amenities and everything that you needed. You was over there with your feet kicked up, curled up on the couch, watching the game, right?
Was. Yes.
Man, I think that's really what counts. And then I think it was purposeful on him, like, okay, we'll let you. That's why you get to put up the pictures and the, paintings and decorum and get the feng shui rocking. You know what I'm talking about?
Got it together.
Make this house into a home. I get the house. Can you make it into a home?
And so that's what women bring to the table. No, I'm just kidding. I hate the table. But
see? Why everybody?
I get so mad. I get so frustrated. I'm so tired of people saying, well, what do you bring to the table? I got my own table. What's up?
Well, I'm gonna say, well, how can you impact? Well, how can you positively impact my life?
I don't like that either.
By being here. What I can imagine. Oh, I never asked a question. I just look.
Because I feel like that's one of those things. It doesn't matter how you answer it, you're going to answer wrong. So if I ask a man, how can you positively impact my life? They're going to say, well, I got money. I got da-da-da-da-da. I could put you in position to win. You sound creepy. I don't like it.
I wouldn't be able to answer that in such a, with just a broad stroke. That's what the time that we would spend.
Right. That's something you got to watch.
See where I could be a, contribution to your life while I'm simultaneously looking to see how you can be a contribution to mine.
But if you say that to somebody gonna say, "Oh, he's a BSer." Like you just can't answer the question correctly
Which
because I
answers
think that
which is no, which is a sign for me that you ain't the one.
yeah,
I count it all as joy because I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna speak candidly and honestly. And you know, that's another thing is your way of communicating. So as we talk about these signs, is really learn to really, you know, my philosophy is to really the first part of it is called TBR, but you got to live in truth. Like you got to really know yourself. Hey, this is how I communicate. This is how I move. Not saying that you shouldn't try to improve upon these things or to be able to do it effectively, but make sure that it's true to self
right.
in what and who you are true to self. If that runs someone off, then that's good. They should be run off. If they don't, if who you are, how you speak, if you're very candid, if you're open, if you share a lot, and that runs a person off and they think that's a red flag, cool. It is for them. That doesn't make you a red flag. And
I
so
agree.
because I think people will go into relationships or go into dating opportunities, be themselves and be like, it's not working. It's not necessarily that. That's where it could be, and you may want to look at that. But if you know you're just being true to self and you hadn't done anything that's creepy or overbearing per se, but if you're just really sharing about who you are, your thoughts and your feelings on something that runs someone off, then then that's a good thing. Thank you for letting me know.
Rejection is protection. And I don't think enough people appreciate that. And I know
Mhm.
it's cliche, and I know in the moment when somebody's telling you you ain't it, or when in the moment when somebody's ghosting you, it doesn't feel that way. But rejection is protection. And every time somebody tells you no, they're protecting you from something. You may never find out what it is. You may find out 3 years later when you see them on the news and they done murdered their girlfriend, or you see her on the news and she like vandalized his car and tried to murder him. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's just
you
yeah.
may never know, but rejection is always protection.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I definitely don't want nobody who don't fully want me.
Me either. And if you don't want me, I'm not gonna let me want you.
So don't even remotely let that even slip out. Because I'm not gonna argue, fuss, or try to convince. I'll be like, oh, do you
Yeah, like,
yeah.
and I also feel like one thing that we don't talk about enough in relationships is ease. Everybody's like, relationships is hard, marriage is hard. It's true, but it's hard because the bigger, like the moments of hard are just bigger. It's not hard every day. Like you ain't waking up every day fighting for your life. Like that's not happening. Like, it shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah.
But I think we don't talk enough about ease. How do you make me feel? Like, am I comfortable? Am I free to like tell my corny jokes? Am I free to keep my bonnet on past noon? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where's the ease in the relationships? Because life gone life. Life is hard. We going out here in the world where child, that's another episode. But where's the ease? Where's the peace?
Yeah, there's gonna be good days and there's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days. There's gonna be some days worse than others. But on the flip side, there's gonna be some glorious days, some days a person to make you just look at them and you be like, damn, I love that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because they gonna protect that undergird.
Oh my God. Not the underbelly. That is my takeaway. The underbelly.
You have to get that underbelly protected. You're gonna be like, I call them crossroad moments. It's gonna be something that happens, and it's not gonna be planned. You're not gonna know what's happening. They don't know what's happening. It's gonna be some level of protection or provision or some thoughtful move that is going to really tell you that, like, man, I'm glad I got this one. You know what I mean? But you know, those things can be varied. So I think that's a lot to cover. But we're in our last 2 minutes. Doc, you've given some really good insight, some things to think about.
Yeah.
Just to run over the list, what we talked about today was I got me one, the top 5 signs you found a great mate. And we talked about a lot of various things, but really just to consolidate that, the list, and we think this is a really good list. Would you agree, Doc?
I do.
And it talks about being compatible. So compatibility is great. Having mutual respect. So a healthy and lasting marriage requires mutual respect. And then also communication. So effective communication is critical in any successful marriage. And then emotional intimacy. Talks about emotional connection and intimacy are important aspects of a very strong marriage. And then a shared vision of the future. So when you find the right person, you both have a shared vision of the future. So we want to make sure that we kind of keep those things in line. If you've written some of these down, I'll encourage you to stay active. Write some other things down. If you didn't think of anything tonight, write some. Go to the Perspective Podcast, our Facebook page. Put in some of the other things that you think up under the show. Maybe that can generate some conversation. Make sure you take the time to go out to all the BS3 Network. Go to the BS3 Network, subscribe, like, share, look at some of the other content. We really appreciate you being a part of our show. We'll be here next week, next Thursday at 8:30 with another topic. We want you to interact with us. Thank you. Good night. We'll see you the next time.
We out.